Welcome to the Dream, Plan, Start, Grow podcast hosted by Allison Turner. In each episode, we interview real, everyday entrepreneurs to learn how they got their start, what challenges they faced and overcame when starting the business, and what successes each has had. Welcome to the Dream, Plan, Start, Grow podcast. My name is Allison Turner. I will be your host. The goal of this podcast is really to learn more about the entrepreneurial journey. So how different people in business got started, what prompted them to go on the entrepreneurial journey, because not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur and own their own business. You know, what challenges they had, what successes they've had, and really build for the audience a big picture of different industries and what it takes to succeed in business. Today, my guest is Nancy Reagan, who owns a very successful spa in Delray Beach called Reina Spa. I know this wasn't your first go around in the spa world because I was at the other one for massage before you and I actually knew each other. So was the previous one that you ended up selling the first spa that you owned?
That I actually am on my third spa.
Wow.
So the first one I opened in, I don't know if I need to say the year, 1996. So I've been around for a little while. And I opened up, it wasn't really a spa then, it was really one room. And I was an esthetician, and I had a landlord that liked to run his motorcycle next door to me and his cigarette boat. So we agreed to disagree, and he let me out of my lease and said, go find more space. And I was lucky enough to find along Atlantic Avenue,
Right,
which is a very successful part of Delray, a space that was equal rent to the space I was leasing with the loud motorcycle. And so it actually had space for more rooms.
Okay.
So unbeknownst to me, I had started a day spa. And
it wasn't just you at that point.
It wasn't just me. And at that point, I had added the N. Reagan and Company. And I had a massage therapist and a nail tech.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I actually found that spa because it's close to my house, and I was looking for a massage therapist when I first moved down to Delray Beach. And I'm very particular about massage therapists because I find most are not very good in my standards, personal standards. I'm not one that just likes the quote unquote relaxing massage. So I want one that's actually going to help, release tension and things like that. So I found your person, and
you must have had the famous Carol.
No, I had Saul.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And he was fabulous.
And he still is fabulous. I think he has moved to a couple of different hotels now.
Okay. So he's probably doing really well in that arena.
Yes.
So I know how long did you own that one on Atlantic Avenue?
On Atlantic Avenue, I was there for 12 years.
Okay.
And we had a team of 24 at that time. It didn't quite seem that large. We ended up with 5 rooms. We did hair.
I was going to say, the space wasn't that big.
No.
I guess if you're going to cover all the hours, you can rotate them through.
Exactly. And it was quite the venture until somebody came knocking at the door and said, hey, you want to move?
So did you end up selling that business? I know you went into the Hotel Marriott.
No, we actually, I was approached to bring the spa to the hotel.
Okay.
And that venture for me was a whole brand new venture because I knew how to run a day spa, but I had never operated a hotel spa.
Right.
So from an entrepreneur, and I don't know about you, but I want to know how to do everything 100%, 125% better than anybody else. So the research part of that took me probably 6 months before I ever said yes.
Okay.
So I went to 30 different hotel spas. I talked to all these people in the industry to find out what worked, what didn't work, and whether or not I could actually make the move and not lose my day spa clients, but gain the hotel clients
as well.
at the same time as well. And that we did extremely successfully well.
Okay.
It was an amazing journey.
Okay. So
But
you still...
I made some mistakes. Major.
Yeah. So you still controlled the spa at that point.
I controlled the spa, and I made a major business decision that included the welfare of my employees versus the welfare of the business. And the decision was that the employee benefits would far, as a small business, the ability to provide benefits for employees is very limited, and especially on the health benefit side. And the fact that I had 55 employees at this point, and I was able to, by having this big conglomerate as a partner, I was able to have the employees have these benefits.
Okay.
It was, unfortunately, I thought I had all the T's and I's dotted and legal and everything else. I was outsmarted and outwitted, and at the end of the day, I realized that they simply wanted the business that I had to move to the hotel.
Right.
And, hey, you win some, you lose some as an entrepreneur. What it taught me was invaluable, because I don't think I ever would have had the opportunity to ever do that.
Yeah.
And so I learned so much that if anybody ever needed a spa consultant to move into a hotel or to do a day spa,
you be the person.
I can pretty much tell you how to do from
what not to do, what to do.
Exactly. And it helps that I am a esthetician and a nail tech, so it helps that I understand that part of the business.
Yeah, I mean, I find you have to understand what, even if you don't do the actual work, you need to be able to understand. I mean, I know I limited certain services when we rebranded. I kind of looked at all the services and I was like, I don't really want to, even though it wouldn't be me doing them, there were certain things like, Google Ads, for example, which is an art unto itself.
It truly, yes.
That I didn't want to have to continually research, even if someone else was doing the work, because I needed to understand it enough to at least know if it's getting done correctly.
Right.
So something like that, I decided, let me find a partner that, has the Google Ad certification, which goes a long way and does it far more frequently. And most of my clients don't have the budget to do it anyway, or the budget they should have to do it successfully.
Right.
They come in and want to spend $500. I'm like, that's really not going to be a good ad campaign unless, it's a really low click rate, which most of them are escalating right now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So,
skincare is not like $3 a click, or I think it is something like crazy.
Okay. Well, you're one of the ones then that's in the cheaper section, because even another one, which I wouldn't have thought it would have been that expensive, was like $25 a click, and I was like, really?
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was something. It was just kind of obscure, like someone that would cable buildings and stuff like that, and maybe do, security camera type of stuff. But it was, and this is a couple of years ago, and I was like, that's interesting.
Wow.
That it's that much money. But, and I know things have gone up since then on certain industries. But
completely.
But that's good that your industry is still cheaper. But going back to that though, I think it's invaluable that what people are doing, so that way if your employees are actually following through on what they're supposed to do.
Exactly.
So then with the hotel, were you then in the end, did you choose to leave? Were you
It wasn't a happy parting of the ways. It was, I came to the realization, and this, we went out of the gate, and we were the spa to go to.
Right.
It was absolutely incredible. We, as a spa in a 1-year span, our sales were way over millions. It was an amazing.
Wow.
It was an amazing venture. We had done extremely well, and when I started looking at everything, we were doing extremely well. As a spa, the hotel was doing nothing to contribute. So there was at the time, the sales department at the hotel was doing nothing. Okay. There was no turn down cards. There was no signs in the spa. And I would scratch my head. I'm like, wow, they want to be here, but they're not doing this. And I couldn't figure out why. And it suddenly became this pull. And then it became a legal thing. And unfortunately, I left with pretty much what I arrived with, which, it wasn't a good thing.
Okay.
So a lot of work.
Right.
And for, at the time, most entrepreneurs, you're going to be successful, you're going to fail. And if you don't fail, you're never, ever going to get back up again. You have to fail.
Right.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
It's just part of it.
Yeah, the entrepreneurial journey is ups and downs. Mm-hmm. And and anyone that tells you otherwise is lying to you. Mm-hmm. So definitely. So then what prompted you to go back in? I know you held for a couple of years. I don't know if you had a non-compete with them or anything like that, or I know Reina didn't open, to my knowledge, immediately.
No, I actually had the oddest non-compete in the history of man. I could not go east of the intercoastal. So I could go anywhere in Delray, but I couldn't go east of Delray, east of the intercoast. Also, at the time being entrepreneurial, I had also at the same time opened a fishing lodge in Panama, the country.
Oh, wow.
Not Panama City, Panama, the country. And so I took the time and went down to Panama and spent time getting that operationally sound and making sure that it was working and everything like that. And when I came back, I missed the spa business. I don't know why some days. But I missed the spa business. I underestimated the timing, as everybody we were in one of the worst recessions of our life. And I decided that I would make it a very small footprint.
Okay.
So the footprint of this spa is super small, and I try to maximize the square foot sales per square foot, simply because in doing so, I'm able to achieve a higher profit margin.
Okay. No, I think that makes sense, and that's probably one of those things that some people don't think about. They're like, I want to build this huge brand.
Yes.
And even if you start small, if you ever wanted to expand, obviously that'd be up to you, but you could go to a larger space because now you have the clientele and the customer base to then open somewhere else. And, as long as it's relatively close to this one.
Right.
To then build a new, build a bigger space.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs, that's a big mistake.
Right.
That they make, thinking, because they're always hearing clients, oh, you need to move. Oh, it'd be so much better if you had a relaxation in our business, relaxation room, or you had this, or you had that, or you have a sauna. But all of that space, the relaxation room and the sauna, is non-income earning space.
Okay.
So it earns nothing, and it
true.
Sits there in a square footage space earning nothing.
Huh.
So even though it's an amenity,
right,
and it's a great amenity, you really have to be able to charge for a spa service to account for that amenity. So instead of a massage being $100, you now have to have it $150 because you're paying for the amenity of this room.
That's why the hotels, which have them the most, I've seen
$280 for a massage, and you're paying for that gorgeous waterfall outside.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes a massage therapist isn't that good.
I'm gonna say probably 80% of the time, unfortunately, they're not as great as the smaller spaces.
Yeah, no, I would tend to agree with you. I mean, I know Jack gave me a gift certificate once for one up in I can't even think of what town it is, but it was on the ocean, and it was a hotel in Palm Beach County, and I went. It was a great day because it was beautiful space, everything, But I think it was like you said, probably about $250 or something like that, and the massage was okay.
Right.
I kept telling the guy, I'm like, you go deeper. Like, I'm good with that. Like, you don't have to do this. And I mean, but it was okay. Like, I wouldn't be like, oh, I got to go back to see him again.
Right.
So yeah, I totally understand that. I think, definitely the people that can, either create their own massage space or work for those smaller spas typically are.
And I just think entrepreneurs, a lot of times they think bigger is better, but they really fail to account for all the expenses they're going to have when they're going to go bigger is better, instead of maybe another location. I'm at the point I need to retire instead of looking for other things to do.
Yeah.
I don't need to, but I don't know that I'm ever going to, because I happen to really love the excitement of, COVID was the worst.
Oh yes. For your business especially.
It was the worst. But what COVID did is it kicked me in the butt to go change protocols, to go reignite things, to go do that. And it's been a 2-year journey of push, because to get back to the same numbers we were at 2019.
Yeah.
And when we achieved that this year, I was like, okay, now I can rest.
No rest for the weary.
Exactly. But you get that pump that you're going to have a goal. And I think that's part of the entrepreneurial journey, is always having a goal, always learning, always trying to fix whatever might be in your business to be the best. That's the part. It's one thing just to open a business.
Right.
Anybody can open a business. But to really, really excel at that business, that's the meaning of entrepreneur to me. Mm-hmm. So that's...
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I think what you said, push, of always, hence the name Dream, Plan, Start, Grow is, dream's more the vision.
Right.
Plan is, whenever you start a business, or, to me, this model, Dream, Plan, Start, Grow, goes no matter where you are in business, because once you hit that goal or whatever you're trying to achieve, then the next vision comes in typically, and you're like, oh, really? I just got here.
Yeah.
Can I take a break for a minute?
No.
And you're like, and then the next vision comes in, and then you got to plan for that and how that's going to work. And then you got to execute that, which is the start part, and then grow. And then again, it kind of loops back.
And then all of the stuff that you had, you still have to make sure that's okay.
Right. And not forget about that. Mm-hmm. And think it's just going to run on its own, because sometimes it doesn't run on its own.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And I think that's true, and you said something, you said a couple of things critical, but I think that this, not starting too large is a big piece. I know when I first started this company with a business partner, and it looked a little different than it does today. We started in executive office space. I didn't have a video producer. I didn't have a music studio incorporated in here either. And with Batcat Media Group, and, we started there. And then at one point, I actually decided, I was spending more time working on my home office after my business partner and I split, and I kind of bought her out. And, I ended up, I was dating actually someone that Jack that works for me now. And he was, we were about 30 minutes apart. So between our kind of 30 minutes apart piece, I ended up spending more time at my home office. So I gave up the office space for a while and kind of regrouped.
Right.
Because I didn't necessarily need it at that point. And then when he and I got together and he came into, Bad Cat Media Group, then we started looking for a space like this. And it took a little while to find it because it probably took about a year to really find because I was trying to kind of narrowed the area down, but then I also didn't want to spend,
right. And this was your vision.
a ton of money. And there's a lot of spaces out there that you can do that, especially in this area. And so it took some time to find this particular space. And I think that's where people, they jump in and they're like, oh, I need this money to build out quickly. And, and obviously some places need the office space. Right. We could film, he could film on site. He didn't have to have the green screen at the time. Obviously it's better.
Right.
Because a lot of people want to do green screen. It's much easier to set it up here and control it here versus going on site. And then you got to bring lights and you got to bring everything and set it up. But it's doable. And so that's like one big piece, and then I think the next piece is that push. Mm-hmm. And I find that people starting in business or someone that maybe is plateaued in business doesn't have that or needs to cultivate that a little more. Either they're confused about what's going on because there's so much when you start, you just think, especially if you're coming out of working for someone else where here's your job. So if you're like you, an esthetician, and you were working for a spa or you were even if you were on your own, but it was just you,
right?
That's a whole different ballgame than finding a bigger space, hiring people, making sure all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed and things like that. That's a much different ballgame than just being an esthetician yourself and either going to people's houses or working out of your own house, because I'm sure some people do that.
Going to the houses is illegal, but okay.
I didn't
don't
say that.
be doing that. But my e-commerce journey has been equally as misstepped, because of either trusting people to do the work that they didn't know how to do, or trusting people that said they knew SEO, but they didn't know SEO. And then there was Google fads for SEO. And then there was e-commerce sites that you could put all of your products on, but Google never found the site. Never found the site. So you really had to market the e-commerce because right. Google wasn't using the spider to even find it. So even the e-commerce part of our business has been an ongoing journey.
Right.
It's all part of, there's not anybody that has a magic answer for, okay, this is your path. This is where you need to go.
Right. Yeah, I think that's key. I still have potential clients come in or even people I'm just having a conversation with and like, what's the one big thing I can do? And I'm like, what's the one big thing? Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not probably one big thing. Maybe if you did video consistently for 2 or 3 years, consistently, at least once a week and putting it out on YouTube and marketing it on social media and things, maybe, but it's going to literally take probably 3 years to get to where you want it.
Oh, the people I know that are successful on YouTube right now, they've been making videos for 2 and 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is I interviewed Paul Likens. I don't know if you know him. Mm-hmm. He's a local realtor, and he used to work for an office here in Delray, and I can't remember where his office is now. But and so he and I had met actually when he first started his journey, probably 10 years ago. And literally he was still working part-time for something else, to kind of help pay the bills while he was building the real estate. And I think I gave him his first lead, which was a rental. We had a friend that needed a rental in this area. And so that was his very first deal. So I had him on really because he does these incredible YouTube videos. So if you ever look at him up on YouTube, it's called Palm Beaches Paul.
Okay.
So he's kind of branded himself Palm Beaches Paul. So his goal with that, and he started maybe 5 years ago, he now earns money from YouTube. I think he has just over 4,000 followers.
Wow, that's nice.
So he earns money from YouTube. He said it's not a lot, but he's like, it paid for my family vacation, you
Hey.
know? So, but he told me during the interview, he's like, yeah, like last year, I don't know if it was last year, he's like, I got 90% of my leads through YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I was like, really? And it was people that found his videos up in out east or wherever they were moving from when they were researching Palm Beach County.
Right.
And he would go into, and he'll do these cool videos, like he'll drive along A1A and he'll stop in different places. And I mean, they're not short videos. They're like, at least 15 minutes, a lot of them.
Right.
If not 30 minutes. He'll be skateboarding, like he has a longboard skateboard thing. He'll be skateboarding. He's probably, like my age. And like, so he like does this longboard skateboard thing, and he'll like, be in shorts and a flowered shirt,
That's awesome.
And he's branded himself with that. And so he's created these, now he's going more into like new construction because it's so hard to get other houses down here if you're moving here. So he's really kind of going into different communities, and he'll just like loop around whether he's driving and he edits everything himself. So he likes to do that. And he's really, and if you look at his early videos versus like today's videos, like he really, has made like huge strides in the editing section. So, but it shows you that, even if you start and maybe they're not so good as you're learning, if you're doing the editing and don't want to farm it out, or if you enjoy doing that, you have to keep doing it. And I think it's the consistency, and it's usually more than one, because he was still networking. So obviously he couldn't just rely on YouTube, because that didn't kick in for 2 or 3 years.
Exactly.
And then it didn't really kick in fully until like, the last year or so.
Right.
So I think that's one of the things I always get is like, what's that one thing? I'm like, there's really not
One thing.
ever.
No.
Because if you're not, I know you have people, either yourself out networking, or you have sometimes someone that's in your spa that goes out and networks, plus you're doing the SEO, plus you're doing, I know you've won a bunch of awards across the country.
Instagram, I'll do it. I'm learning Reels. It's a whole new world.
Reels is where you can get the traffic now on Instagram versus anything else that you post on Instagram. So, I've been trying to do more of those Reels too, just to try and pick up more traffic.
Exactly.
But I think that's the challenge, is there's not one thing, and you have to, and then things change a lot, especially in the digital marketing world. So like we just refer to Instagram, as currently in 2022, Reels are the thing that's picking up the best traffic, with their algorithm. But next year it could be something completely different that they bring out, and now YouTube's copied Instagram, and they have their shorts that they're beta testing right now.
Well, you see, I used to be an esthetician and a nail tech. But then I had to become a social media expert. And then I had to become a videographer.
Right.
Then I had to learn how to edit. So it's all been the whole journey is, I think we keep growing and learning, and that's part of it.
Right. No, I think that's true. And you just have to be willing to be flexible to do that.
The other part of, I know it happens in all businesses, but I see, especially in the esthetician business, there's always new techniques coming out.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
Every day there's something new. And I watched a video last night of somebody on Instagram, and they were doing brows, with microblading and tattooing. Is very popular.
Yeah.
But they were doing it the old way. And I just wanted to say, like, hey, go back to school. I know that you're in your 50s, but you need to go back to school. You need to learn the new techniques, because there's always a bigger, better, like always. And if you're going to be in tune with your industry, and it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you have a cafe, like wherever, there's always going to be some innovation in your industry that you have to stay in touch with.
Right. Yeah. Always being willing to learn, continuing education if that's appropriate for your industry. or educate yourself,
right,
too.
Well, this is what I learned, 20 years ago. I'm like, well, 20 years ago was a long time,
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to read more books this year on, business and different things, and it's interesting how many people are like, yeah, I hear these people that, are in business, and they're like, yeah, I learned this 20 years ago, and some things stay tried and true, certain business principles,
but
know your industry, know kind of what's changed, and how you need to change with that,
right,
and impact that differently. So I mean, one of the things even with this, podcast is my goal is to, bring it out once a week, which is just the consistency I know on YouTube and even in the podcasting channels is like key,
right,
versus, oh, I got to get this, absolutely perfect.
Right.
And then for me, it's not the flash on the video. It's not the, even though we're, filming on a green screen, it's more, I'm fine with one background. I'm fine with, limited edits,
right,
because I'd rather it be edited quickly and come out quickly versus.
And I just think it's more realistic that way. It's like, this is who we are, and this is the real deal. And
and everything doesn't, there's times and places for flashy and times and places for consistent. Right. And certain things, maybe in a commercial call, that you're going to air on TV or wherever you're going to, or online, maybe that calls for something flashier to get someone's attention, versus this is a little bit different, right, where it's more educational. And whether you want to listen to it on the podcasting channels or you want to watch it via YouTube,
right,
either one is appropriate. So, so if you had one thing you would share with, someone that wanted to be an entrepreneur, maybe didn't have to be in your industry necessarily, but just one thing that you feel would be something interesting that you learned early on, or maybe you didn't know when you started your journey that would have sped your journey up or accelerated your success a little bit more quickly?
Yes. Don't try to always do it alone. Find yourself and it may be 2 or 3 mentors that are available. And today there's so many mentors, but there's real business coaches. And then there's people that are not really good at what they do.
Right.
But I think attaching yourself to a mentor and attaching yourself to somebody that can provide the feedback to your journey is huge. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's huge.
Yeah, and I think that's true. And knowing that throughout your course of your entrepreneurial journey, that it could be different people,
right?
And realizing that, because when you first start, like in my business coaching, I'm really focused on more of those people that are starting a company or have started something, but then have hit kind of a plateau in the first year or two, mm-hmm. Because they just don't know what the next steps are,
right,
or they're struggling with those next steps versus someone that's making, 500,000 or up, maybe you should go to someone a little bit different than that, because it's a different journey and there's different challenges and barriers and roads that you're gonna find. And same thing with mentors, because you probably occasionally I've heard people that have had like at least one mentor that's been there their entire kind of career. Mm-hmm. But I think it depends on the industry, and it depends on if that mentor is always kind of staying in front.
Right, and that mentor must be an amazing
exactly.
person, because I find that while some are not who they like, especially because we're in this whole online age of right. people making like, here's who I am and here's what I've done, and it's not like, the old times, I know what she used to do. I know what she does because right. I see what car she drives and I know what she does. So it's not like you know the person face to face.
Yeah.
You assume that their persona that you see is really actually reality. And in some cases, I've been burned so many times and I'm very believable of what other people tell me. And it is not something really good because it's very expensive in your entrepreneurial journey.
Yes, exactly.
So make sure you find the right business coach.
Definitely. So thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
On the Dream, Plan, Start, Grow podcast. And for all our listeners out there, if someone wanted to reach out to you in some way, is social media best? Is email best? Is website? Like, what's the best way to get in touch if anyone had any questions?
Any questions? We are Bella, Bella, Reina, Reina, spa.com.
Okay.
And there you can find all of our social media. I'm working very hard to grow our Instagram account.
Like them on Instagram.
If you follow us on Instagram, it's at me, Bella Reina.
Yeah, so. And if you're ever in the South Florida area, if you're listening from other places other than South Florida, check them out. They're in Delray Beach, Florida. Yes. So you won't be sorry, for sure. So if you're on vacation, it's a great opportunity to get some extra relaxation in.
Yes.
My name, again, is Allison Turner, and thank you for joining us today on the Dream, Plan, Start, Grow podcast. If you have any questions for us, please go to our website, dreamplanstartgrow.com. You will see all the previous podcasts, whether you want to listen to them in audio form, video form, or watch them in video form. And we also run a complimentary clubhouse room on Thursdays, currently at 1 p.m. Thursday Eastern time. That's more of a mastermind session. So I have a different question that is brought up each week all around business. So anyone can join. Usually it's a smaller room right now. So I'm trying to build that. But even if it's 5 or 10 people, that's more time for everyone to share and more time to learn from each other. So thank you for joining us, and I wish everyone a great rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in to the Dream, Plan, Start, Grow podcast with Allison Turner. If you like what you heard, make sure to subscribe and leave a review. Join the Dream, Plan, Start, Grow community by following us on Facebook or Instagram at Dream, Plan, Start, Grow. See you in the next episode.